Creation of a strategic plan. In this topic, we will address subjects related to the social media strategy. What is a social media strategy? We can say that it must consider how social media can be used and if it's needed, for example, to implement social communication, to collect value from collaborative relationship, to manage and monitor brand reputation. So, a social media strategy defines the why do we want to do this. Some may say that there is no need for a social media strategy definition, but we've already seen that there are three compelling reasons for using social media. Marketing, that allow us to understand customers and to develop brand awareness. Employee engagement, that allow us to develop a company culture, improve internal collaboration and recruit talent. And finally, collaboration, giving us the ability to create social spaces to collaborate with partners, suppliers and customers. We will focus more deeply in the next slide. The strategy goals should tell you how you can get from the starting point, goal to achieve, to the point of arrival, successfully achieved goal. So, if you really seek a definition of goals for the business, you can simply use the example, the SMART approach. Make your objectives specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. If your goal is to increase customer loyalty, a specific strategic objective to be considered can be to increase by 50% the interaction with customers. In setting goals, we never consider that we can fail. Taking this into consideration, being too much ambitious can be dangerous, because if we set very high goals, we take the risk of not achieving them. We must choose goals that we can achieve with the resources we have for this purpose. According to each one of your goals, get a time scale for implementing each one of them, which can take from a week to a year. Being able to know your customers' age, occupation, incomes, interests, pains, problems, obstacles, habits, likes, dislikes, motivation and objection is halfway to gauge their loyalty to social networks or any other media. In digital marketing language, a conversion is the achievement of a goal, whether it is the sale of a product or the performance of any digital transaction. In the end, your customer will be selling for you. One of the best ways to be ahead and with new ideas is to keep abreast of business trend and gather important information about what your competitors is doing. Obtaining data in competition is a good way to find out what the situation is and how far you want to go. You should try to get answer to the following question. Who is your main competitor? Elect up to 5 competitors. What are their strengths and their weaknesses? How can you make profit of them to your advantage? Review the number and sort of followers your competitor has and see what they write, how often, and the time of the day. Looking at the administrator of the website or social profile can be a good way to be able to calculate the membership fee and get a good idea of what your competitor is doing. When we talk about communication strategy, we are always talking about selling an idea and consuming information, and then it is essential to address your target audience through the different channels. When you face up to the need to know what the right channel to use in your strategy, you should consider that contacting with your audience is the key to build a brand, keeping in mind that users of social media or social networks and their customers are increasingly multi-channel, consuming a variety of information in different media. Your tactics for each social channel rely on your goals and objectives, as well as the best practices of each platform. Remember, the energy of your business is directly tied to your email list. Without good contents, there is no social network to survive, as well as the contents. Even when they are good, an enterprise doesn't reach the users without a good social network. Using content and social networks together can be the solution to succeed in your business. There are a multitude of content options to be produced and made available on the network, from posts, links, infographics, webinars, animation, scripts, videos, manuals, guides, templates, and much more. Another important issue is related to the ideal frequency to publish. You need to find a balance without being annoying, but also without falling into oblivion. You should be aware that your customers and your followers are special and deserve personalized treatment. Taking this perspective, you can find the best ideas to put into practice. In business logic, social networks have evolved in such a way that they are no longer just an interesting feature, but have become essential in conquering markets and customers. Investment in financial resources and the allocation of other resources will continue to grow on social networks, and it will be done to the detriment of the traditional media. In order to achieve your budget for social networks, focus on the strategies defined and the business goals you want to achieve. Being able to calculate the ROI, return on investment, of their strategies can enable you to set realistic goals and identify turnaround times of what you have invested. Besides, you can get to know the channel that gives you the fastest or the most profitable results. Everything depends on the way you allocate and distribute tasks among employees. The goal is that each team member must know exactly his commitment in order to develop his production process. Thus, they can assertively develop forms of planning based on tasks to perform daily, weekly, or monthly. Under the management and collaborative work, there are many tools that can contribute to the proper functioning of teamwork, including Basecamp or Active Collab, which can be used to manage the tasks of each team member, allowing everyone to become more productive and organized. It is important to realize that your digital identity won't be a document that is written now and will last forever. Evaluate your plan regularly and look for what is working and what is not to be able to change and improve. Keep on evaluating your strategy and setting priorities correctly and to verify the effectiveness of your plan.